If you are going on a Mediterranean cruise this year or you're planning one for next year, this is the video for you, because a lot of things have changed when it comes to European travel, and I know a lot of people have questions. I am on a Mediterranean cruise right now. We're going to talk about the chaos of travel, the heat and how bad is it, as well as some of the things that you really want to pack that you probably haven't heard of before. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, I hope you don't mind. I am filming this video as we are leaving Kotor, Montenegro at the end of the day. What a phenomenal day. I will talk a little bit about the ports, but that is going to come in another sort of review style video. But for today, I'm answering the questions that a lot of people have, including the chaos of travel and the new travel rules. And before you go canceling your cruise, some people have actually told me they want to do that. Do not cancel your European cruise. I am going to share exactly what it is like without any fear mongering. Before we get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Okay, so I have a few questions and I am going to try to kind of go in order as much as possible, starting with how chaotic is travel right now when it comes to the airports flying into Rome. So that is where we flew in. And in particular, I think a lot of people do know that there is a new system called EES, which is entry-exit system. So what was it like? Now, even though I've seen a lot of articles about this saying how absolutely terrible it is, how there's like an hour and a half to 3 hours wait, no. So I will tell you, I do think at the beginning when this came out in sort of May 2026, obviously there were some growing pains. But when we came through Rome, I actually did not find it that bad. What you're going to do is you're going to go over to the kiosk with your passport. You're going to put your passport in all the way. That does make a difference. After your passport is accepted, you are going to have to take a photo. So you just look up at the camera, and then after that, you are going to have to do your fingerprints. Now, the fingerprints are not actual ink fingerprints. They're just digital fingerprints. You're going to put your 4 fingers, if I'm not mistaken. There probably was a 5th. There probably was the thumb. But in any case, you're going to do that. Now, I have to tell you, my first 2 times I did it, I was rejected. And my family, they did theirs. They went through fine. So I was actually quite nervous. But the person who worked there at the airport just told me to try a 3rd. And she actually let me know that I should put my passport all the way in. And that was the problem. So just be patient. Remember, the people that are working at the airport, they're there to help you. And in our experience, they were actually nice. Now, after that part, you're going to look down on the floor and you're going to see sort of arrows telling you where to go. After that, you are going to go in another line. In our experience, it was about 15 minutes. It was a facial recognition line that we did go to the end. It did take those few minutes, but after that we were all done. And my understanding is now that we are registered, that we did that at the kiosk, the next time it's going to go faster. It's just the facial recognition. And if you've done the facial recognition at the cruise ports in the US, like in Miami, it is exactly the same thing. So just calculate a little bit of extra time until you take a transfer from the airport or something like that, and you will be fine. Okay, so let's talk about the heat. How hot is it? So in Rome, when we arrived, it was about 40 degrees Celsius, which is about 104 degrees Fahrenheit. It was genuinely very hot in Rome. So this is something that I do suggest. Get a hotel that has air conditioning and schedule some breaks in your day to go back in the mid-afternoon, have a little bit of an hour and a half of downtime. You'll find that the evenings do cool off. And by the way, the next day, so we were in Rome for 2 days, the next day was a little bit less hot. So it was a little bit more manageable. Now, something that we did, we love to walk, and we walked a lot in Rome. But what we did is we started off our second morning at the Villa Borghese. It's sort of a park, and there is a beautiful lake that you can actually go on the lake and have these boat rides for only €5. It's cooler in that area and much more quiet too than the center of Rome. So I suggest you try to do that. in the morning time, or otherwise visit, Trevi Fountain and other places in the morning time. And then what we did is around 1 o'clock after lunch, we went back to our hotel and we scheduled a golf cart tour for 3 o'clock. So 3 to 6, we had the golf cart tour. It's much more breezy when you're in a golf cart, and also you're going to be less tired from all the walking. Now, just a little tip: when you're in Rome and many of the European cities, there are fountains that are actually safe to drink with really cold water. Now, I was surprised to know this, but the water is actually safe. It's sort of in a reservoir under the ground. I think it might be filtered with limestone or something like that. Anybody who has any additional information about this, in Dubrovnik we found this, in Rome, and so bring, even if it's just a plastic water bottle with you, this is going to help you feel cooler as well. Okay, so let's talk about Rome. And by the way, for anybody that is going in through Barcelona, I will give you a hotel recommendation or two as well. But where did we stay in Rome? We stayed at, it was called the Regency Hotel. That was in the Villa Borghese area, so a little bit more quiet than staying closer to the Pantheon or the Colosseum or anything like that. It was a fantastic hotel, part of the Marriott chain, if anybody likes to stay with sort of their Bonvoy points. Really, really fabulous service, so helpful. Genuinely loved this hotel. But we did stay in the past near the Pantheon. There's a hotel that's called Hotel Abruzzi. If you were looking just for fabulous location, also really good. I would say boutique hotel, a little bit on the pricey side, but excellent location. Now, when it comes to Barcelona, I'm sure there are a lot of great hotels, but we've stayed in a couple that we've really enjoyed. One of them is H10 Cubic. They have a rooftop pool on the top, and the other one is H10 Casanova. They also have the pool on the top, and both of those are well located. How did we get from the airport to our hotel, and how did we get from our hotel to the cruise port, Rome to Civitavecchia? So let me share both of those with you. So first, we decided, kind of a little bit last minute, but we decided to get a car service to pick us up at the airport and bring us over to our hotel. And part of the reason was we're 4 people, so I knew that taking an Uber or a cab, making sure that we had, do you hear that? We're going to be heading out. Okay, so speaking of the car service, so what did we do? Well, what we did is we actually booked this through Shore Excursions Group. Now, I think a lot of people know that I do recommend Shore Excursions Group for independent third-party tours. They have smaller groups, private tours that are very reasonably priced, and we just love them, and really quite a lot of variety, and you can really find everything that you need on their website with reviews. Very, very user-friendly, so I like them. And by the way, they do also have a back-to-ship guarantee. Look on their website to see exactly what that entails, but we really like that company. So we ended up using Shore Excursions Group to pick the 4 of us up and our luggage. We did put that in the notes at the airport. It was so convenient, and I will let you in on a little secret. We found our person from Shore Excursions Group right in the area where the transfers are for the cruise lines. And our person who helped us and brought us over to the driver actually told us that she works for the cruise lines as well. So anyway, not that that always happens, but that did happen on one of our tours in Corfu. So our tour guide actually told us that she does the tours for the cruise lines as well, and she actually had to say no to one of the cruise lines because she was doing our tour. So anyway, check for yourself, but I will leave the information if you are looking for that for Shore Excursions Group. Now, the other thing that we did is we took a private transfer from the hotel to the port of Civitavecchia, and that is something that I can highly recommend. It's about an hour and a half, and really just having that relaxing drive, a great way to start our embarkation day. Now, I will leave all of the information for Shore Excursions Group. I'll leave a link down below in case you want to look into any of their tours and transfers. Now, some of you might be wondering, are tourists not welcome in Europe anymore? Because we definitely sometimes see that sort of reported. So I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. I actually asked every single one of our tour guides on this cruise. But first, what cruise am I on? I am on board Enchanted Princess. I really like this ship. Princess Cruises. This is such a beautiful itinerary. Now, I will do a whole separate video on the itinerary, but it's 7 days leaving from Rome. We went to Corfu, Greece. We went to Dubrovnik, Croatia. Today we're in Kotor, Montenegro. Then we'll have a day at sea, 2 days at sea altogether. And then at the end, we'll be in the Amalfi Coast in Naples. So a really nice itinerary. Now, the only bad thing about this itinerary is the fact that I did not book a back-to-back, as some people did on this cruise, where you go to other destinations in the following week. Now, please let me know, have you ever booked a back-to-back cruise? I'm very curious. Let me know down in the comments below. So what should you pack for a Mediterranean cruise that perhaps you are not aware of, especially for summer travel? I have to say, I actually made the mistake myself of not bringing enough just sort of pool wear. Not that I don't have bathing suits. I have 3 bathing suits and I think 2 to 3 cover-ups, but just around the ship wear, more casual stuff. I guess I really haven't been in the Mediterranean in the summer to realize how hot it is. So I often wear like long dresses and I like that, but shorter dresses would have been good for me. Shorts a little bit more. I do have a couple pairs of shorts, but definitely that's just me. But the other thing that is going to be immensely helpful for you is bring one of those cooler fans, or even a neck fan if you like. Just bring a fan. That actually really did save us. My son was sure that we would not need the cooler fan. He even told me like not to really bring them, and I brought 4 cooler fans and we were very happy that I did. Now, we met people during our cruise that they actually had these sort of cooling neck towels, and they allowed me to take a little video of them, so I'm going to put it up here. They were so nice. So the cooling neck towels, the way those work is you actually just put like cold water on them, put them around your neck, and apparently those work really, really well. So a future Mediterranean cruise in the summertime, or any hot cruise, you know, even a Caribbean cruise, that could be helpful. I'm going to look for the links on Amazon, and I will also include them down below. Oh, and the other thing that I definitely think that you should bring are blister band-aids. You walk a lot, and you know, even in Rome, we were walking so much, and even though I brought moleskin and regular band-aids, I really could have used blister band-aids. I ended up buying them in the pharmacy here, but it would have saved me if I had them earlier. Now, I'm going to mention what people had to say about Europeans not liking cruise tourism or tourism in general in just a minute, but I do want to kind of share, if you happen to come and there is an immense amount of heat. Right now, by the way, it's actually cooling off to know, but it's probably, if I had to guess, because we have a little bit of a breeze, I would say it's probably about 30 degrees Fahrenheit, but with a really nice breeze, because we're kind of going through this valley in the mountains. Very, very comfortable. And if you're not in the direct sun, it really is not that bad. You kind of do acclimate to it. I think that what's good about a Mediterranean cruise is the fact that once you're on the cruise ship, it's actually better than being at a hotel. We found that on the cruise ship, you have the air conditioning, of course, you have the pools, you have the break in the day where you can come back to the ship even if you're on a port day, and you can relax, so that really helps. But if you're, you know, on land, I do have some suggestions. Head indoors for lunch. A lot of people are going to stay outdoors for lunch. I love to do that, but indoors is oftentimes just a little bit cooler. The buildings, the way they're made, tend to be kind of cooler. The other thing that you can do is actually like go into one of the malls in Rome in particular, in Barcelona too, but in Rome there are some really good malls. So go in, take an hour or 2 break, have really good air conditioning, maybe buy a couple of things. By the way, you can get the VAT tax back, so if you want more information about that in a future video, let me know. But that is something that you can do as well. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, pace yourself so that you do some sightseeing in the morning time, in the later afternoon, even in the evening time. And that hottest part of the day, try to stay indoors for that if possible. Oh, and by the way, just take it slow. You do not need to do everything in one day. And do have the gelato. It will cool you off, and it is really, really good. All right, so our tourist welcome So yes, they're very welcome. Now, we actually did talk with the tour guide in Corfu. We talked with our tour guide in Dubrovnik as well. And what they both said is, yeah, some people don't like cruise tourists or tourists in general. They wish they would stay home. But they said basically those are the people who don't work in tourism. And in both of those places, a large percentage of people do work in cruise tourism. In Corfu, or in tourism, I should say. In Corfu, we were told about 65% of the population does. So that is a good amount of people. And in Dubrovnik, what our tour guide had actually told us is that during the pandemic, when the tourists were not there as much, especially the cruise tourists, he said they really were like begging for people to come back. And he said, of course, it's just normal now that there are more cruises, that of course people are like, oh, we don't want so many tourists. But he said it's actually not the case, that people are angry about it or anything like that. He said it's just really human nature. And actually, interestingly, in Dubrovnik, he said they limit the cruise ships, I think it might be to 2 a day, and he said that that is really fine, and we didn't find it was overly busy at all. If anything, in Dubrovnik and even Corfu, it was like less busy than in St. Thomas. So Rome was really busy, but that isn't because of cruise tourists in particular. It's just so many people visit Rome, especially during the summer months. Oh, and the other thing we were told is if you think that you're going to come to Europe instead in the month of May or September, October, we were told by several different people who work in tourism that actually, because people have been told that the month of May this year was extremely busy, and they're finding so far that like the end of June and even July in terms of bookings is actually less busy. So that is something to keep in mind. We were told that July, August might actually be a good time because less people are coming in the last couple of years than they would have in the past. Now, like I mentioned, I am on board a Princess cruise. So if you have any questions about cruising with Princess, about Mediterranean cruises, even about pickpocketing or anything like that, let me know down in the comments below. Happy to try to answer or even make another video. And like I mentioned, I am going to make a video about this specific cruise. Now, I hope that this video was helpful for you. If it was, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Bye for now and happy cruising.